Hi there, greetings and salutations. My name is Jake Query, and this is the best week of the year for Derek Schultz because Derek, number one, I'm losing my voice, so you're going to talk more. Number two, it's Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, it is Super Bowl week.
Does the voice, like, as I talk, will it get stronger and then come back?
Let's let people behind the curtain a little bit here. This is our second take, so
Yeah.
we tried to open
there was no
the
voice
show,
when we
and
started.
yeah, and you were Joan Rivers at the beginning. This isn't a whole heck of a lot better, but it was better than the first take.
It's
so.
kind of weird, though, because I don't feel bad.
Yeah.
But I can tell, like, there's just something going on in my throat.
No, I mean, it is the season, right, for this
yeah.
sort of thing, for sure. It's definitely going around. But, yeah, I'm in good spirits. We might actually get to 33 degrees today in Indianapolis, so that's exciting.
You know the game that you and I used to play, and I'll incorporate you in this right now, okay?
Okay.
When it snows and you get, like, these mountains and parking lots and everything, what will the date be when there is no sign of that anywhere?
That was always kind of fun. At the old Trumbull Mall in Connecticut, they used to clear the lots, right? And those were the biggest snow piles. So after we'd have a big snow, my buddies and I, we used to talk about that when we drive by and be like, when do you think that thing is going to melt?
So what's your guess right now? It's February 3rd, right? My sister's birthday. Happy birthday to Megan, by the way. So what's your guess? What will the date be when the snow?
February 22nd. I think we'll have a string of 40, 50-degree days. Maybe not 50-degree.
I mean, that's pretty optimistic, though.
Yeah. Well, the sun hits it, though, with the pavement and everything.
No, I know.
You know?
We need some rain mixed in, though. That's what does it.
Yeah, but then it's still pretty white right now. And when it starts to get wet, then it starts to get, like, brown and ugh.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's just gross in general, right? I'm just over it.
We're all over it. But there's plenty to talk about besides the snow, because it is weird to me that you tell me if maybe I'm reading this wrong, but it feels like, and I know we're back to the 2 weeks between. That's been a couple of years now. But this Super Bowl matchup, it doesn't feel like there's as much buzz as normal. Like, I don't even know when Media Day is and all the wacky hijinks that take place.
I think it was yesterday.
There's been so much talk about the Hall of Fame as opposed to the game itself. And I think part of that is because it's just this fait accompli to a lot of people. Seattle's going to win. I don't know that that's going to be the case. And I also think it's just New England's not an overly sexy team, so people don't talk about them, right?
Yeah, I think maybe Drake May becomes a big star, but he's not a big star yet. And this matchup really lacks a Patrick Mahomes, a Saquon Barkley, a Travis Kelce, Joe Burrow, really anybody from the Rams, right? They had a whole, Aaron Donald and a whole level of stars on that Super Bowl team. You don't really have that. Like, Sam Darnold is a cool story for people that follow football, but
right.
My wife doesn't care about Sam Darnold. You know what I mean? Like, some rando on the street's not going to care about Sam Darnold. I just – there is something to seeing something new, because this is, for the most part, a new storyline, and people say, well, the Patriots, what are you talking about? This is the reincarnation of there's nothing the same about the old Patriots with this Patriots. But I just don't find the individuals with this team to be very captivating. I don't think Mike McDonald, even though he's done a wonderful job, is very captivating. I kind of agree that there's less buzz, but I think a part of that, Jake, is that we were always wondering, like, when is the NFL going to hit its peak? And I think the NFL at some point around like the 2010 to 14-ish range hit a peak. I mean, it had to eventually at some point. God, it was so omnipresent just everywhere. And not that it's taken a big dive, but I think that it's petered off a little bit here.
How much of that, though, is the market we're in? Would we still feel that way if we were in Buffalo, Kansas City, Philadelphia?
I think that I feel comfortable saying there are biases, right, because we're all kind of in our own bubbles. But I feel comfortable saying that is a thing across the country. I think fantasy football has been devalued to the point where most people that are in a fantasy football league are just in it because they've always been in it.
Yeah, that's
right. I just don't think that – I know some people that still really are competitive about fantasy football. That group of people is very small. I think gambling has kind of been a pervasive act where it's been polarizing. Some people are really into it. Some people it's been sort of off-putting for them for just the presence of gambling with the NFL. I think there are a lot of things that sort of factor into that. But at the end of the day, Jake, I think this is also, as much as people say that they don't want to see it, the NFL, for the most part, has been a dynasty-type league where you have the same kind of villains over and over again, and there is no villain here. I mean, New England is a villain here in Indianapolis. New England nationally is not necessarily a villain.
But they're bland right now.
Yeah.
Right?
And also are the Seahawks. I mean, Seahawks are really good, but they're bland.
By the way, we should have mentioned right off the top, we are once again at Hoagies and Hops. Great to be back here after the weather last week. Hoagies and Hops and Chili Water.
You know what today is?
Here at, today is February 3rd, my sister's birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Juge?
I just said that. Megan.
Megan, okay. Sorry, I had a 50 shot, and I chose the wrong one. Today is the 7th anniversary. Today's the day of this. Hoagies and Hops and Chili Water Tap Room at the Midtown location. So 7 years in Midtown for Chili Water Brewing and Hoagies and Hops.
Just come by and get yourself a fabulous sandwich and a cold beer to celebrate, right?
Yep, they always do a big birthday party.
They're the best.
Always do a big birthday party.
Also want to thank, as we do each and every week, Bailey & Wood for being our sponsor on the program, the very best when it comes to getting you in for your mortgage rates. Once again, ran into some folks from Bailey & Wood at the Pacer game the other night. Always good to do that. Also want to thank Chateau Kitchens for helping remodel every single aspect of Derek's house known to man.
Yep.
IU Indy, we got the Jags report that is upcoming. We will get to that as well. So we want to thank everybody that has been involved and on board with us really from day number one. Derek, by the way, I have an extra ticket to the Pacer game tonight. You want to go?
Yeah, I think I can go. I have to check with my wife.
Did not work out. I was kind of hoping that would be like a rhetorical, like,
hey,
I offered.
It's the Jazz, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I actually think that I can go. Do you want to grab dinner beforehand? What are you in the mood for? What do you want? What do you want for dinner tonight? You feeling like a steak or like a? Should we do something more cash? Just go cash for dinner?
I mean, Hoagies and Hops.
We can do that. Yeah, we can do it right here. Yeah, okay.
Get a Chili Water beer.
Are you driving? You have a parking pass, right? I no longer have a parking pass. I didn't really want to pay to park. Also, it's snowy, and I don't want my feet to get wet because then they get cold, and then they're wet and cold during the entire game. So we got to talk about that. We got to talk about who's going to drive. And like what time frame do you want to pick me up? So I have a meeting until I have a meeting until 5, and then maybe we can do dinner like 5:15 or 5:30. Or what time can you? What temperature do you like to put the car at when you're heat? Because I kind of like it at like the 84 to 86 range. But yes, short answer, yes, I can go to the game with you tonight, and I'm excited about it. That'd be great.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
And this would be very low maintenance and easy to do. I mean, just, is quick.
For sure. Yeah.
Do you want to know the real reason that I would like to know if you'd like to go to the game?
Why is that?
The seats it's kind of like being on an airplane. It's a little tight.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about that with me.
Correct.
You don't have to worry about that with me.
I need the leg room, truth be told.
They're great seats. I mean, right on the court like that. Can say hi to Rick. That'll be great. Haven't said hi to Rick in a while.
Okay.
Carlisle.
Indiana and Purdue, Derek, speaking of which, and the Pacers are actually playing pretty well. And I know that sounds crazy to say because of the record, and there's that thought of, what happens now in terms of the draft. There are four franchise trajectory changing players in this year's draft. Now we say that about a lot of years, and sometimes they don't work out. But I do think there are 4 players that are perfect for what Indiana needs in this draft. Question is, I just don't know how long they can stay in that bottom 4 because they actually are playing pretty well. Now last night against Houston, they played well. Rockets end up getting that win, but the trade deadline is this week. Ben Mathurin is going to be a big topic of conversation with that. I do think that they would like to actively shop Ben Mathurin. Again, I'm going to go back to, I said this earlier. I think Ben Mathurin's a wonderful player. He's a talented guy. He's a scorer. He's an isolation guy. But Ben Mathurin is rum, which is good. I like rum. There are a lot of things I like with rum. Yeah. I sometimes just rum on ice.
Rum, yeah.
But the Pacers, excuse me.
Ooh.
The Pacers are an old-fashioned, which is a drink that doesn't require rum. And it has a lot of ingredients in it that are very good once they're together, but it doesn't require rum. He just doesn't really fit in with who and what the Pacers are. That's no knock on him. Question is whether or not they can flip that into a player to replace Miles Turner and become a starting center.
Yeah, look, I'm not a mixologist, so I'm not entirely sure on. I know where you're going with the analogy, but I think it's just simpler to say, yeah, like he's never really been. He's always felt like a round peg, square hole
Right.
type guy. Where I think Ben Mathurin could really thrive in a place that would more tap into who he is as an individual. And that's just not how the Pacers operate, really. Outside of Halliburton, right? It's just about some of its parts, right? Like making all the pieces sort of fit together. And the big need for this team, even though Jay Huff has played better, right, and has proven himself to be at the very least an NBA backup type center. The big need is center, and the best chip to get you that piece is Mathurin. What I'm interested in, Jake, is that we've been looking so much at, we've been solely focusing on a 1-for-1 deal or a one-team deal, two-team deal, right? What if the Pacers can get involved in a Giannis deal? What if the Pacers can get involved in a three-way, a four-way deal, something like that?
Now, let me ask you: are you saying for Giannis, or are you saying
no?
Get involved to
facilitate a deal and get what you want back, and maybe not even include Mathurin. I don't know. That's their best trade.
Well, here's another thing that's interesting: is the other piece that I think the Pacers had that they were exploring the possibility of moving on from would be Jarris Walker. But I think in the last 6 weeks, Jarris Walker has come on in such a way that now you say, whoa, wait a minute. We might have something here. Now, is he going to be a secondary or third option on every play type player for you? Maybe not. But I think he looks like he could be a very solid piece that can defend in different areas, score in different areas, but primarily defensively can guard and go into different. I think he's got some value, and I think you hold on to that. Now, Isaiah Jackson, Ben Shepherd, are those salary match type pieces you may throw in? Perhaps. But I do still feel like Mather would be the key piece. I do like Jay Huff, who, by the way, the Jay Huff rule. You ready for the Jay Huff rule?
Hit me.
Always hits his first 3 shots of the game. His first 3 3-pointers, Jay Huff will hit 3 3-pointers within the first 8 minutes of stepping on the floor and then finish the game with 11 points.
Yeah.
Almost invariably.
Okay.
But good player.
I'm going to start paying attention to this.
Good
now.
player, but I think but what I've watched a lot of Jay Huff, and one of the things I've noticed is very good player, nice touch, rim protector. I think has done a lot of what it was that they were hoping that he could do when they got him. But stamina and lower and strength just on the low block become an issue the longer he's on the floor, and therefore you've got to sub him out a lot. I don't know that he's a starting player, but he's a really nice complimentary player.
Yeah, he's good in some areas like his shooting ability and things like that, but he's also a very limited player, right. And you need somebody that's a little bit more well-rounded to fit. Say what you want about Miles Turner. Miles Turner was a nicely well-rounded player. He wasn't maybe necessarily overly elite in any area.
Would you say my voice sounds sexier, or is it now? Is it
no?
fading?
Yeah, no.
It's not Barry White right now, right?
No. It's not unusual to be loved by anyone. Barry White?
No, Barry White, I think more is my darling, I can't get enough of your love, babe. I think he's more known for that.
That was Tom Jones, wasn't it?
No.
Like lounge singer sort of thing?
No.
I think you're mixing those. I think you're mixing those two up.
There could not be a bigger difference, as a matter of fact, between the two. One was posing of the vibe the other had. For what that's worth.
Well, Tom was very popular with the ladies. I mean, so was Barry White as well. But, yeah, Tom was very popular. You know who we haven't talked about yet that I actually wanted to spend some time on because he's the photo on our little YouTube thumbnail. Congratulations to Pascal Siakam. Another All-Star bid, his 4th back-to-back All-Star games. You know that he's only the, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's only the 8th Pacer to make multiple All-Star games, NBA All-Star games.
Can I guess the others?
Yeah.
I'm not going to look there. Multiple All-Star games as an Indiana Pacer, okay? Reggie Miller.
Yes.
Paul George.
Yep.
Jermaine O'Neal.
Yep. You named the top 3 right there, not in that order.
Okay.
Everyone else has made 2. Just 2.
Rick Smits?
No, he only made 1.
Dale Davis?
No.
Are they
more recent?
Oh, Tyrese Halliburton?
Yes, made back-to-back going into this year.
So how many am I missing?
3.
Are they obvious?
I mean, yeah, just go backwards. Recent. Think
Victor
recent, guys.
Oladipo.
Yes.
I would not have guessed that, actually. That's until you give the head.
Yeah, he had 2 good seasons, right? Then he
That's
got
fair.
All-Star.
The last one, go ahead and hit me with the last one.
DeMontis Sabonis and Roy Hibbert.
Roy Hibbert's a surprise. That's
center.
Surprise. No,
I think he was
right.
the starting center one year just because there were no centers back when Roy Hibbert played. Roy Hibbert was one of the few. I think you would stump a lot of people on the fact that Jermaine O'Neal is the pacer with the most all-time All-Star games. He made 6. Reggie only made 5.
Yeah.
But then again, position, right? You're talking about a big versus a shooting guard. Reggie as a shooting guard in his day, there were a couple of guys
Derek,
that you may have heard of that were pretty good.
I thought about this the other day. I was at the game. If you could take any former Pacer not named Reggie Miller in their prime and put them NBA Pacers, so I'm not counting the ABA days, any NBA former Pacer in their prime and put them on this particular team, who's the best one you'd get?
Oh, God.
It'd be Jermaine O'Neal, wouldn't it?
I mean, yeah, just because he fills that need and he wasn't a glacier at center.
Right.
Could move around, rim protection, rebound,
Great player,
do all kinds
no
of things. Yeah, Jermaine O'Neal was, I think, has become more appreciated.
But the Pacers in action tonight, and if you're watching the game, look for that kind of a disparity.
Yeah.
You might see Derek and I sitting there.
But a couple more Siakam things. He's from the worst team to earn an All-Star berth since Kobe did it in his final season with the Lakers. They had 9 wins. Pacers have 13. 23.8 points per game, 6.8 rebounds per game, 4 assists per game. We spent a lot of time when the Pacers made that trade and then they made the extension, like, how good is Siakam? Like, is he worth it? That was a conversation that we had. And I think what he's showing you in the absence of Tyrese Halliburton, that the guy is just a really good basketball player, like a top 20 level NBA player. Not only that, but a fantastic teammate and leader, and a guy that holds guys.
You got to give him a ton of credit for the energy and the professionalism he is showing night in and night out, because that cannot be easy.
No,
right?
And they gave up nothing for him, really. I mean, they gave up Brown's expiring deal, who wasn't going to continue with the team anyway, and they gave a back half first round picks, who, I think Jacoby Walker.
Back, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of who all was involved. Well, one of them is in 26, I think, if I'm not mistaken. There, so Toronto still hasn't used one of them.
Well, the 26 is this year. They got it back. Remember, they traded it.
Oh, that's right.
Last year in the finals, they made a fairly innocuous trade.
So that pick is now a 27, right? That's what they flipped years, didn't they?
Maybe. I
just know
that they got back their first.
Yeah,
round pick.
They got back their first round pick. I think it was with Memphis or something that had their pick at that
Which
time.
you didn't think at the time. You thought, like, okay, great, they got the 28th pick, and now.
Yeah. No, I mean it's crazy how it ended up working out sort of in their favor. The Pacers have not had a lot of luck over the years with stuff like that, but they've, and one thing that is interesting. This goes back to the Donnie Walsh trade. If you look and see why the Pacers have been successful as an NBA franchise, they haven't ever had a number 1 pick. They've never even had a number 1 pick on their roster.
Correct.
They haven't had a lot of great lottery level selections. But what they've been able to do is make a lot of great trades.
You're right.
They've made a ton of great trades where the trades that have hit for them have been much better or much more frequent than the trades like the Alex English for George McGinnis trade.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Which, by the way, you know who was on the other end of that?
There was another player involved?
No. The Alex English, so as you mentioned, the one trade in Pacers history that in hindsight went really against them was the Pacers traded a young Alex English for
an older
George McGinnis.
Yeah.
Do you know who was the person that facilitated that trade on the other end?
On Denver's side.
Correct.
Donnie
Walsh.
Yeah, wow, okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So he was on the winning end of that trade too.
Yeah. It's funny how life works like that. And then your girlfriend / common law wife was growing up in Denver at that time.
That's correct.
When that trade ended up happening. But no, I mean, I just wanted to give Pascal Siakam some flowers for kind of soldiering through what's been a tough season.
On this?
Yeah, it's
is this the
yep, right here. The top of it has come off there. Yeah.
Okay, that's
okay.
Okay.
Yep, there you go. You're coughing. See, you can still hear me. You can't hear Jake. See her say something.
Well, I don't know if I.
Well, no, hi.
Okay.
See, this is actually convenient because now Jake can't talk at all because I'm holding down the cough button. You can't even hear him. You have no idea what he's saying. What's he? Blah 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 blah. Nope. There you go.
See,
all right, now you're back.
Okay.
And you're back. Do we have our sandwiches? Let's get to our Hoagies and Hops Hoagie and Hero of the Week. This has
All
been
right.
a weird show so far. Has this been a weird show, you think?
Every show with you is weird. But I will tell you this, what's not weird. Kinda Blue. This is a coffee stout from Chili Water, which is, again, everything in Chili Water is fabulous. The coffee stout, perfect for this time of year, as a matter of fact, especially if we get another one of those snowstorms, you're snowed in. Perfect for that. Smooth, but has that stout flavor and that strong taste, right? So with that, Derek, we are pairing this with what sandwich?
We're pairing this with the Dutch Country.
Look at this.
Look at this.
Loaded.
Christina and
Holy
Don here,
cow.
they're just the best. They give us our own little sandwich trays and the whole deal. Look at this fresh sando here. So, Licio's bread shipped in from South Jersey. Licio's Bakery. We've got some smoked salam on here. Really, really good. Some Munster cheese, really underrated sandwich cheese, like the smokiness of the meat with the creaminess of the Munster. LT and whole grain beer mustard from Chili Water as well. So Chili Water getting in on the sando here.
That is a smooth coffee stout.
It's just a good hearty sando.
It's a good hearty coffee stout, and it's
it's a perfect pairing.
very smooth. Yes. Now Derek does this, and then he doesn't. He can't talk, and it's kind of embarrassing.
I can talk. I can talk just fine.
At least
Try
you
the
didn't drop
coffee
an
stout.
F-bomb. That's good.
This is good because February, and when it's wintry like this, I like to do the dark beers, like the heavier beers a little bit. And I've never had this. Oh, that's good.
Right. Told you. It's
Yeah, that
smooth
hits.
as can be.
Look at them. Not that I'm a sommelier or whatever, a beer connoisseur, but the coffee notes in there are very strong. Like, I'm a big coffee guy. Not like a just the taste of coffee. Like, I would drink decaf because I like it so much. And this is really good.
Very good.
Mhm.
This
I
is
don't think
helping my voice.
we've ever had this on the show. I got to ask Alexis, but I don't recognize Kind of Blue. And look, there's a trumpet on there. That's pretty cool. Kind of Blue in the winter months. You get the coffee stout right here at Chili Water Brewing and get a Dutch Country right here. I'm going to take one more bite, and then I'll reveal my Hero of the Week. Oh, yeah. A couple other things I want to mention. And apologies to our podcast listeners.
Blue Mind Coffee. Collaboration with Blue Mind Coffee.
38th in your neck of the woods.
And collaboration with it.
Jake can walk there from the 2-bedroom apartment where he lives alone with his cat to Blue Mind. Couple of things to mention here.
Which
We
is
mentioned
where you'll be picking me up if I'm taking you to the game tonight.
I just want the 84 and 86 degrees. That's what I want the cabin temperature to be. Couple of things to mention. We talked about the 7th birthday anniversary, I guess you'd say. Chili Water Brewing and Hoagies and Hops right here at 42nd Boulevard. Congratulations to Christine and everybody else for that. Coming up on March 24th, it's never too early to start talking about National Cheesesteak Day. 15% of all proceeds from Chili Water beer sales will be donated to the MLK Center right there at 38th, and actually that's 40th in Illinois, which is a great cause for a great center, people doing wonderful work. But also I wanted to tell you about a Super Bowl deal for this week at Hoagies and Hops. So get this, for $60, $60, you get one whole hoagie, like the big guy. Remember we did that one time on the sandwich, and I kind of lifted it up from under the table, and you got uncomfortable, so we never did the whole hoagie again? Do you remember that? Do you remember that clip where I, rose it up? It was a delicious sandwich. That was one of my favorite show memories. 2 regular cheesesteaks, whiz, without, whatever. You can do whatever you want with them. 10 buffalo wings, and 2. Have you had their Philly pretzels here? That they only bring them in kind of specially sometimes. No. Oh, my God. They're like this big, and they're just doughy and crusty and salty and delicious. Pick up on Super Bowl Sunday, $60 party bag, whole hoagie, 2 regular cheesesteaks, 10 buffalo wings, 2 Philly pretzels. That'd feed a lot of people. Hell, get 2 of them if you want to. Then cut them up into little party sizes. For the hoag, and then maybe the cheesesteak, you can kind of do the same thing. And then the wings, people can just pick at. And the 2 Philly pretzels, people are going to fight you over the Philly pretzels, I'll tell you that. People are going to fight you over those, but delicious. $60. Hoagiesandhops.com. Catering as well. They do sandwich trays. If you want to get that for your Super Bowl party, you can pre-order at hoagiesandhops.com. Hero of the week. I think this was a really easy one. And this person has changed the arithmetic for IU basketball this year, and that's Nick Dorn.
Yep.
Little over 20 points per game in his last 4 games. He's hit 23 pointers in that span with only 1 turnover. He just had a season-high 26, including 6 made threes at UCLA to lead IU to a big road win. You know, it's a guy that was an Elon transfer, dealt with some injury stuff. Was fine, was contributing, was like a 7-8 point per game guy, but he's really, really taken off now and become one of their go-to scorers and an offensive punch that they've needed, as Tucker DeVries has been a little bit up and down, and it can't just be Lamar Wilkerson, right? It can't just be all on his shoulders. So Dorn has lifted, I think, some of the weight off of Wilkerson as a scorer. And, you know, Indiana scores 2 quad 1 wins. They now look like an NCAA tournament team magically overnight. That's what happens in the college basketball season. Sometimes you're feeling great, and then you go like this. Sometimes you're feeling bad, and you go like this. That's the beauty of it. But something else about Dorn that is notable, he's a junior. You know, all these other guys are gone after this year for the most part. DeVries, Wilkerson, Enright, all these guys are seniors. And, you know, who knows with NCAA eligibility rules, maybe they can apply for more eligibility. But, you know, Dorn is a guy that could factor into the future plans for Darren DeVries' team.
Derek, I think.
Along with Trent Sisley. I mean, you know, he's not the only underclassman.
This is a roster that had to be put together at the 11th hour. And it's taken a while for them to figure out how to play with each other. And you wondered, actually, you know, how good, we don't know how good a coach Darren DeVries is. I don't mean that to say he hasn't been a good coach. I mean, as Indiana fans, we haven't seen a lot of him. But it's very encouraging because they've gotten better as the year's gone on. They play very well with one another. They seem to now kind of know each other and know each other's tendencies. And yes, the emergence of Nick Dorn, what that's done is offset the slide here of Tucker DeVries. And Tucker DeVries, I don't know if it's that he's maybe hurt or that the athleticism has gotten away from him a little bit or he doesn't have enough for the Big Ten. You know, I don't know which way you want to look at it. But either way, this is a huge step for Indiana. And I think if you look at, for Indiana and, the other team that we talk a lot about who I think the world of is Purdue, and how important Fletcher Lawyer is for Purdue. Because when Fletcher Lawyer is not there shooting that outside shot, it allows defenses to come in a little bit. It allows Trey Kaufman-Renn to be pinned in a little bit. And you started to wonder with Purdue during their losing streak, you see how important it is to have 5 Pistons firing simultaneously with one another. And Indiana's getting that now with Dorn there, and Purdue got it in Maryland with Fletcher Lawyer fighting his shot back, and that was a huge lift for them. So I would put Fletcher Lawyer in this same category. I like the Nick Dorn selection, but give the flowers as well to Fletcher Lawyer because right when Purdue was starting to wonder what was going on, they have an all-player team meeting. They reawaken Fletcher Lawyer, and that is good news for Purdue and something they desperately needed during this little skid here.
Let's stable that thought. Because when we come back, we're going to talk more college basketball. We'll have a college basketball segment. Jake always does this where, I was planning to talk Super Bowl
segment 2. Well, maybe you should have told me ahead of time.
But Siakam in segment 1, and then college basketball is going to mix
tonight
in there.
When I'm apparently shuttling.
Jake is throwing all of our topics out
there. We
there.
go over all these things for next week's show while I'm shuttling you around and catering to every one of your needs for the Pacer game.
You want to talk Q&S while we're hanging tonight?
Do you want to get food while we're there?
You always say no Q&S.
By the way, you said, do you want to get dinner beforehand? You know there's a restaurant there, right?
At the Pacers game?
Yes.
Yeah, but I want you and me to kind of go sit somewhere. I don't want to we'll do the Pacers game together too, but I want to have like a buddy dinner. I want to have a dude date night. I want a DDN with you and me. This is going to be a great day. We're off to a great start. We're already hanging, 2 best buds, just talking sports.
Is this opposed to the D&D that was your social life for middle school and high school?
We are going to hang later tonight the Pacers game, asterisk, pending Ashley's approval. But when we come back on the show, we don't need approval for this.
Let me get her,
college basketball. We're going to talk about that and round up Purdue's win over Maryland their week ahead. And ditto for a now resurgent IU and Butler up to the same Butler things after a losing week last week. All of that when we return to Query and Schultz, presented by Bailey Inwood Financial Group here on the ISC Sports Network.
Nice snap.
Mortgage is a snap. Duh.
Bailey and Wood, a lending hand for Wish TV Sports.
Hey, AC.
Nice snap.
Mortgages in a snap. Duh.
Bailey and Wood, a lending hand for Wish TV Sports.
Welcome back, Corey and Schultz, ISC Sports Network, presented by our friends at Bailey and Wood Financial Group. 855-350-HOME, BAWFG.com. I was actually texting with Mike the other day, and I was like, hey, man, I hope you just get down to Miami around this time of year and escape somewhere warm. And he actually went to the IU National Championship game with some friends as well. So he did have an escape, as many of you did as well, and our listening and watching audience, to see the Hoosiers claim that national championship. But Mike and his team do tremendous work. 5-star customer service with Bailey and Wood Financial Group, whether you're looking to refinance or you're trying to get pre-approved for your first home mortgage, do so with Bailey and Wood Financial Group. The home buying season's right around the corner here. Spring, things really ramp up, and you want to make sure that you have your ducks in a row and everything covered, and you can do that at BAWFG.com, 855-350-HOME, or by visiting any one of their 18 Indiana branch locations for Bailey and Wood. Again, the presenting sponsor for 2026, so this will be the, let me see here, 23, 24, 25, 20. This will be the fourth straight year that Bailey and Wood has been a presenting sponsor of the show. And it's not
Very
something
much
that,
appreciated.
you know, it's not something that Jake and I take for granted, because we would do this for free. Free-ish. We would do this for free-ish.
Fair.
But we are, you know, part of the reason, like what I always tell people is that this is an excuse for two best friends to just kind of hang out and shoot the bull
Without
once a
all
week.
the demands of cabin temperature. Whoops. Sorry.
Even though we shoot the bull a lot, like Jake will call me frequently at like 10 p.m. or something
Now,
on a Wednesday night. Like, let me throw something by you, and then it turns into like an hour-long
I
phone
did
conversation.
run into you.
No, I don't want to talk about this. We have people that were there that were.
Okay, I won't say any names.
Okay.
I won't say Saturday evening.
Yeah.
I was on my way home. I'd gone to the Pacer game. We did not eat dinner before the game, so I was a little hungry. There was a game on that I wanted to watch the end of, so I went into a local establishment, about 12:15 or so. Rolled in, fairly sparsely populated crowd that had kind of weeded itself out because games were ending. And I see 7 middle-aged guys in matching Hawaiian shirts, one of which is wearing shorts, and it's 5 degrees outside. And I immediately go, who's this jackass? Well, guess who it was?
It was me.
Right?
High socks too. It was old Hawaii theme. So we were dressed up like old people that were about to go to Hawaii. So I had my bucket hat on too. Did I have my bucket hat on at that point? I might have removed the bucket hat at that point. My memory starts to get a little bit hazy around 11:30 or so. But yeah, Jake was there. Luckily, nobody really made a big deal about it. The worst thing that has happened to me is sometimes, like at my bachelor party, which is supposed to be about me, sometimes when we run into Jake randomly, some of my friends listen to the show or they think highly of Jake, and so they freak out. Like, oh, my God, Jake's here. And I'm like, no, guys, like, Derek's here.
Okay.
Like, Derek is the one that's here. Let's focus on Derek. And instead it turns into the Jake show. But, yeah, my buddies were playing pool. There aren't a lot of bars that have pool tables anymore. And
It's a great place.
Not Mo and Johnny's. Okay, now the cat's out of the bag. That was where we were at. Bulldog.
It's a great place.
Well, I have a buddy that used to get his mail there, Adam, who's a Butler grad, and that was always his spot. And but it's just a great dad's group. It's a lot of those guys that went to Mexico, the greatest gringo fishing crew. It was that group, and then a couple of others that weren't on the fishing.
They say
boat.
that you know that if you went back to Mexico and you were talking to the people that do the fishing thing, and you said like, "Oh, we're part of your greatest fishing group," they're like, "Well, we say that to everyone. Like, it's part of the package."
No, they specifically said we don't say this to anybody, to everybody.
That's also.
Well, they said it. They said it in Spanish, so loosely translated. But that's what I gathered from what I know in Spanish. What they were telling us was that it was the greatest. Let's say it was the greatest accomplishment they had ever seen in their many años on the seas.
Okay.
Some años meaning years. Sorry for people that don't speak Espanol.
This kind of blue.
That's what it was.
Oatmeal coffee stout is fantastic.
I know, it's really, really good. Let's talk college basketball. So we kind of mentioned Indiana, netting 2 quad 1 wins. Look, they had no wins before that, so it was a big deal to win both of those games. UCLA is not great, but they're going to be an NCAA tournament team, and that's a tough trip to go all the way out there and win with all the IU collapsed in the final 90 seconds of that game and still found a way. And they were dealing with foul trouble as well. But a tricky week ahead. They've got USC late tonight So we're taping this right now on Tuesday, and then they're home for Wisconsin, who's been really good. No one's talking about Wisconsin. Nobody. And they've been really good. The top of the Big Ten is just so good that maybe you don't think about Wisconsin. And then Purdue snapped that 3-game losing skid. Look, Maryland is horrendous. Like, they are awful. But you beat anybody by 30 on the road. That's a big deal. And then to have Fletcher Lawyer become uncorked. And now you get a really bad and equally bad Oregon team at home. So Purdue's season was about to hit the skids, and they drew the 2 worst teams in the Big Ten back-to-back, so it worked out for them.
You know who's really good in the Big Ten that no one talks about?
You're not going to say Illinois because people are starting to talk about them now.
Well, I mean, maybe, but what they're doing is impressive. Like, they're good. Well, they're good.
Keaton Wagler being a human blowtorch, flamethrower.
I mean, Derek, he was like a no one recruited him guy.
Yeah.
Had one offer from Minnesota, got Illinois late, went to Illinois, high school player out of Kansas that was totally overlooked, and he's going to be a top 10 pick.
Yeah, it's crazy. He's going to be a one-and-done guy.
Yep.
Which you never would have thought. And then they're surrounded by 6'8", 6'9", 6'10 guys that can all shoot. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how you guard them. I don't know how you guard Illinois. It's not even that they're a great defensive team. They're not, but they're just so impossible to guard. They had Purdue in a blender all game at Mackey Arena, and that was still a game that they had to find a kind of scratch, claw, and fight to win, even though Wagner went off for 46 points. This is as good as I can ever remember the Big Ten being at the top. I think you probably have to go back to like the early 20-teens when Crean had that brief window when Indiana was really cooking and Thad Matta at Ohio State going to Final Fours. But you also had Michigan State and Wisconsin, Bo Ryan, Michigan's, Trey Burke in Michigan and Beeline at his peak. I think that was the last time that at the top of the Big Ten you had like 4 or 5 teams that were like, this team could win it all.
Right.
But you look at it, even Purdue, and I think Purdue might be actually 5th on the list with where they stand right now. Like, I'm not shut off to the fact that Purdue could be a Final Four national champion team. Whereas I absolutely feel that way about Illinois and Michigan, and I think Michigan State and Nebraska are in that mix too.
The other side of it would be this, and Derek, we talked about this briefly in your haze on Saturday evening in your Hawaiian shirt. I love Thad Matta. And I really have enjoyed when Butler has been good. But, man, I mean, at this point, you got to wonder what the answer is there, right?
Yeah, I think the hope was that Thad would come back kind of like Mike Woodson and stabilize things to hand off to the next person. And he just, for whatever reason, it's not through lack of trying. He's just not been able to do that. I just think it's very difficult for anybody, even somebody as accomplished as Thad Matta, who's been an unbelievable coach, like a national champion level coach, to navigate the waters in this brand new landscape when you're resetting your team every other year. Like, that's just not a sustainable path of success. Like, you can't even do that at Kansas and Kentucky and have consistent success. Certainly, more so than Butler has had. But yeah, it's just a really damaging home loss to Georgetown. Barring a real run here, they're going to miss the NCAA tournament again. And they haven't made it now since, you got to go back before the COVID cancellation year. They would have made it with Kamar Baldwin. But you have to go back to like the last vestiges of the Chris Holtmann teams to find the last time Butler had success. And I wish I could sit here and, they have Grant Leyendecker and they have smart people in charge there at Butler. But I wish that I could sit here and say, Jake, that I was confident that they're going to be able to be a high-level Big East program, because I'm not. Where we sit today, February, whatever this is, February 3rd, 2026, I'm not confident that Butler is consistently going to be a high-level Big East men's basketball program.
I'm going to go back to, and this is not meant as a "see, I told you so" comment, because I totally understand it. I totally understand from a financial standpoint why Butler went into the Big East. I get it. You almost, that when Butler comes, or when the Big East comes calling, if you're Butler, you got to take it. I get it. I just feel like still, and I love the Horizon League, but when they had the opportunity, if they felt they'd outgrown the financial Horizon League, then the Atlantic 10, I think, was kind of the happy medium between the two. I think there's good basketball in the Atlantic 10. I think you are playing more with a little bit more. You're not getting totally into the far eastern seaboard in terms of your most eyeballs and your recruiting and everything else. I always felt the A10 was the best league for them. But I understand it. I get it. But I wonder where things would be if they never would have left the A10 or the Horizon.
The flip side of that is that, there is some hindsight is 2020 there. I know that there were some people that were hesitant about that move. But the flip side of that is that you look at some of these programs like UConn. UConn, I don't know if people realize, like UConn athletics almost went under because they were hemorrhaging money so bad because they got left behind in the conference realignment because they weren't able to hop aboard anywhere, and they were in the AAC, and no UConn fans were coming to watch UConn men's basketball play Tulsa.
Right.
No one cared. And luckily Dan Hurley for them came in and kind of was Superman and saved the day, and now UConn's back to being UConn, and they're back in a league that makes sense for them. I think if you had to do it all over again, I think you still make the same thing. And while I think Butler has challenges that are unique to Butler, I don't want to give them a blanket excuse either. If you're in a league with, Providence and Marquette and teams like that, there's no reason to me why I'm not asking Butler to be Villanova at their peak or UConn. I'm saying that Butler needs to be Seton Hall. There's no reason to me that Butler can't be like firmly at least a middle tier team in that league instead of a back dweller. There's no reason why they can't be Creighton to me.
Right.
I don't see it. I think Butler for a long time has tried to sort of straddle the fence between big time and mom and pop shop, and you got to go all in. If you're going to do it, you got to go in all the way. And also, Jake, I think it's finally time, I think, for Butler to hire outside the family. I think it's time for them to kind of take a chance on somebody else. Like Holtman was outside the family. I understand that he was an assistant on the staff, and you really lucked out that you backed into Chris Holtman after the Brandon Miller hire was such a disaster. But I think it's time for them to go outside the family.
No, I would agree with that. And there have been times in the past I felt they needed to do that, right? I hope they're able to steady the ship. And I love Thad Matta. I do, in all aspects. As a guy, as a coach, all of it. As a story, all of it. But I just hope they're able to get things right.
I don't think it's a reflection on Matta, and maybe this is just me being a pro-Matta guy. I don't think this is a reflection on him necessarily. The fact that he even came back and tried when so many other guys of his ilk are running away from it, I think it's commendable that Matta at least came back and tried. But you came back, you tried, it's not working. Time to try something else.
Fair. You know what you could try is this oatmeal coffee stout.
I know, it's very good.
Kind of blue. It's fabulous.
We come back on the show. Our Quick Hits have a sponsor. Isn't that exciting? I don't know if our Quick Hits have ever had a sponsor, do we? Did Stuart Tyranaro and our buddy Darren, didn't they sponsor Quick Hits for a little? And then even Darren, who's a great guy and a loyal guy, was like, well, like, this segment sucks. I don't want to be part of this anymore.
Well, we have a new sponsor for it, Derek. Way to let them know that it sucks.
He didn't really say that.
We also have the IU Indy Jags
Darren
report.
loves everything that we do on Corey and Schultz.
IU Indy Jags report, which includes an opportunity to see championship-level sport at a champion-level facility, I'll tell you.
There you go. And then Chateau Kitchen's Butter Bowl Bleep, so we still have plenty to get to. It's Corey and Schultz episode, I don't even know what this is, 272 maybe, on the ISC Sports Network.
At Bailey.
Welcome back to Corey and Schultz here on the ISC Sports Network. We are at Hoagies and Hops Chili Water right here at 40, which in Boulevard?
42nd.
42nd and Boulevard. You sure it's on 47?
It's 42nd.
42nd and Boulevard on the north, somewhat west side of Indianapolis.
No, Midtown.
Fabulous facility. Happy 7th.
Midtown.
Happy 7th anniversary to this fabulous facility of Hoagies and Hops Chili Water right next door. All right, it is time for the IU Indy Jags report. Derek, I've got 3 sports. I'm going to let you pick which sport. I've got my fancy notes right here from throughout. IU Indy, of course, IUIndyJags.com/tickets is the place for Division I athletics right here in Central Indiana. Don't forget, they're going to have a fabulous facility on campus, a new arena being developed and built right now for IU Indy basketball, athletics, concerts, all of it, and it's going to be very exciting. Good time to be a Jag, no question about it. I've got swimming and diving. I've got men's hoops. I've got women's hoops. Derek, I will let you choose the sport first.
Let's do women's hoops.
Women's hoops. All right. They did drop 2 close games over the course of the week to Oakland and to Robert Morris. But against Oakland, Ariana Williams led the way with 12 in that game. And then in a 5-point loss to Robert Morris. Haley Smith, 17 points, led 4 different Jags in double figures. They are back home tomorrow night. Cleveland State, 6:30 in the Jungle on the IU Indy campus. Tomorrow night, 6:30. That, of course, is going to be action right there in downtown Indianapolis. Tickets available, iuindyjags.com. And then they are on the road after that Saturday. They're in Wright State. But don't forget, tomorrow night, 6:30 in the Jungle. Women's college basketball right there and balanced scoring for the IU Indy Women's Jags. All right, men's hoops and swimming and diving. Derek, your next choice is?
Swim, dive.
All right, men's swimming and diving celebrated their 10 seniors. They had 10 departing seniors that they celebrated senior night over the course of the week at the Natatorium, the world-famous, world-renowned Natatorium that has sent, I was going to say they have sprung. Is that the right word?
Sprang?
Sprang. Sprang or sprung? Sprang?
Spranged? I want to be sprang. That doesn't sound
Springed?
right. Sprunged.
Launched the careers of many a swimmer and diver on the Olympic levels. Matter of
Sprung.
fact, all of them are listed right there on the wall.
Sprung is
Greg
right.
Louganis, Mark Lindsay, others.
They sprung Greg Louganis.
Okay. That would let you know what a fabulous world-class facility you have at the Natatorium. And 10 seniors got the chance to swim there for a final time, at least in terms of their recognition for Senior Day. You're going to have more opportunity to swim there. And the Horizon League Championship, more on that in a second. But the men beat Wabash 232 to 128. And then women beating Butler a little tighter, 187 to 164. But an excellent going away for Senior Night for both sides of it. And the Horizon League Championships, February 18th through the 21st in the Natatorium in downtown Indianapolis. February 18th to February 21st, the Natatorium, downtown Indianapolis. Awesome facility. Swimmers from around the world. I remember doing the IHSAA state finals, and there was a girl that was swimming for Carmel that was a native of Arizona and moved to Indianapolis. Her parents got a job, but chose Carmel for swimming, but also wanted to be, and the dad took the job so that their daughter could swim in the Natatorium. That is the kind of facility we're talking about. Now, men's basketball, Derek, that is going to be the last sport because you had mentioned the other two.
Yes.
But last but not least in any way, shape, or form, Kyler DiAgostino, as we know, has been a fabulous player for the Jags all year. He was out with injury. So they had a tight game, but unfortunately came up on the short end. Robert Morris and Youngstown State, both of them close games over the course of the week, but on the short end for both of them. Micah Davis did had 18 points, 4 boards against Robert Morris. Jackson Edwards continues to play well. He had 15. Matt Compass had 15 as well. But they do have, upcoming here in February, 5 home games. So over the next month, you have the opportunity to see men's Division I college basketball 5 times, high pace of play, exciting in the Jungle. This all starts with the alumni reunion game Saturday. So they got the week off. Got time to kind of work on some things, get fine-tuned. The alumni reunion game is Saturday, 2 o'clock against Cleveland State. So a lot of former Jags, even Metros will be there. 2 o'clock against Cleveland State in the Jungle this Saturday. And then a week from tonight, next Tuesday, at home against Milwaukee. But we will let you know of the other dates as well. 5 times to see your Jags right here at IU Indy over the course of the month of February.
IUINDY.
Love it.
Time for our quick hits. Speaking of, Jake, can you tell me what league/conference the IU Indy Jaguars participate in?
That would be the Horizon League.
Yes.
I love.
Thank you very much.
the
Wow,
Horizon
what a great segue. Quick Hits is brought to you by the Horizon League. 3-day tournament for men's and women's basketball. The Horizon League Championships are in just 1 month as the Barbasol Horizon League Championships return to Indy March 8th through March 10th. So
Man,
now
it is
3
such
days.
a cool event out there, right?
It's great, and I love the Coliseum.
Fans that come out for the
Coliseum's a great
Coliseum
spot.
from all around.
Lot
Last year, a
of
bunch
fun.
of people from Robert Morris made the drive over from
Yeah.
Pittsburgh, and Oakland is, obviously well represented. It's always fun.
It's still a league, and I know Julie has since moved on to Pacer Sports and Entertainment, but Julie Rolash, the old commissioner, I always told her it's a league that makes sense in a sport or in a landscape that doesn't make sense anymore.
Correct. That's fair.
Where geographically, the members of the league and the size of the schools and just like, the academics and the vibes
I think
and
that's
everything,
the big
they
thing
seem
there.
to fit and match
I
together.
think the big thing is and I get it, the portal and NIL. I mean, you're still going to get that, and you
Of course.
you'd like to have those kinds of players, but still student athletes, right?
Yeah.
You get kids and students that are going to these schools because they like the academic opportunity, they like the chance to continue their education. You get all that in the Horizon League.
Yeah, it's great. Great league and great championships. A lot of fun, very entertaining. Take the kids out there, tickets and all of that. HorizonLeague.org. A couple of things to hit on our quick hits. 3 Colts appear in ESPN's top 10 free agents list.
Okay, can I guess?
Interesting. Well, I mean, it's going to be easy, but yeah, go ahead.
Alec Pierce.
Yes, number 6.
Kenny Moore.
No, not a free agent. I don't
Is he not a free agent?
No, he's a cut candidate, but not a free agent.
Okay, hit me.
Daniel Jones.
Oh, yeah.
Number 4.
We forget that he's a free agent, right?
Yeah, and then Braden Smith is number 10. No other team had more than one player make the top 10. As it's been said, the Colts seemingly they're acting like it's a fait accompli that Daniel Jones is back. They're going to do everything that they can, and I think they're going to do everything that they can to retain Alec Pierce. But to me, Jake, unless he's willing to take a smaller end deal than he can get on the open market, I think it's likely Braden Smith will either move on to another team or even possibly retire.
Yeah.
Even though, if somebody wants to pay Braden Smith and give him a 1-year deal for $15 million, that'd be hard to say no to.
Right.
Braden Smith can still play. He can still play at a high level.
Yeah.
But if he feels like he's in a good mental state to do that, because we know some of the struggles that he's gone through there, it's his life. But I think retirement is also a possibility. But I think we've seen the last snap that Braden Smith has played as a Colt. They have Jalen Travis. They have a couple of guys. They've kind of done this with Ryan Kelly and, Bortolini. And, you bring in one guy and then he's in waiting and then he becomes the next guy as the other guy moves on. Did you see this? The Steelers are hiring Curt Cignetti's brother.
Really?
Yeah. So Curt Cignetti's brother has been a coach dating back to 1989. Former Pitt and IU of Pennsylvania coordinator Frank Cignetti Jr. Hey, Frankie Cignetti Jr. Joining Mike McCarthy's new staff as an offensive analyst. He's had several NFL stops along the way. He's been a quarterbacks coach for the Chiefs, the Saints, the 49ers, the Rams, the Giants, and the Packers.
Wow.
Crazy. How do you do that and move around that much? Wouldn't that be nuts? I mean, you're living the dream, I guess, a little bit. But he was also the Rams offensive coordinator for one season under Jeff Fisher in 2015. So his brother actually had more high-level coaching experience than Kurt did, which is crazy. But you have to wonder, I mean, obviously he has some Pittsburgh ties and things like that, and he's probably well-known in Pittsburgh circles. But you do have to wonder, don't you, a little bit, Jake? Like, is he more on your radar because of what's happened with his brother? But, just an offensive analyst, so it's not like he's running your offense or anything like that. He's just part of your offensive staff. Did you see the Arts Garden pipe burst dealio?
No.
The floor is like caving in.
The one that hangs over the...
Yeah, it's problematic, I would say.
To say the least, right?
It's like the floor is having some problem. There was a cop car on one side of that intersection. What is that? Is that Illinois and Washington? Right?
Correct.
Yes,
That's
Illinois
right.
and Washington that goes through there. And obviously the below freezing temperatures, I know there have been a lot of pipe, but we've had some problems in our neighborhood with pipes bursting as well. And also, finally, this one popped in today. It was not part of my prep sheet, but Pat Knight, no longer the head coach with Marion men's basketball.
I talked to Pat last night. Obviously did not go well in terms of this year. The kind of the breaking point was a loss to Goshen, who had, a big losing streak within the conference, and Pat got ejected in that game.
Yeah, they're in the basement of that league.
Talking to him last night, I will say he was very almost like relieved. And, he just said, he's like, look, I wanted this to work out. They wanted me to make changes on my staff I didn't want to make. And so I wanted to go out on my own terms before they could put it on their terms. And his hope is to go back into the NBA and become an area or regional scout. I like Pat a great deal. Great personality, totally loyal friend, good guy. And I think his loyalty actually in this case probably was the ultimate breaking point for it. But too bad, because I did want it to work out in Marion, but Steve Downing had to go back to the drawing board.
And you've talked about this, but you guys go back a long ways. Like,
all back to college, yeah.
I mean, Pat Knight has the profile because he's Pat Knight, but you guys were college buddies.
Correct.
Back in the day, too. And, we did that show for Marion, I think, before he had started, or maybe right after he got hired.
Just gotten hired, yeah.
And he just felt like a guy that was reinvigorated. I don't think he was necessarily expecting to get back into coaching again after what happened at Lamar and Texas Tech, and he was happy being a scout and traveling all over and just riding the NBA wave there. But he came back to give it one last shot. And did he allude to this with you? Is this it? Coaching
I
wise?
think coaching wise, I think it is, yeah.
maybe he just felt like, hey, it's time to.
And it's got to be. Let's be honest.
move on to something
It would
else.
be tough to go into coaching when your dad is one of the best to ever do it.
Well, yeah, and look, I understand that Marion had some turnover there, but like Scott Heddy had them humming.
Yeah,
I mean, they were
you're
making
right.
the tournament every year. So for Marion to suddenly go like 5-17 in men's basketball, you can see why the administration was like, hey, like, what's up here? We gotta figure out some things. And good on Pat for being loyal to his guys, but I think I can understand also where Marion was coming from there, because all their athletic programs, I mean, they expect to not only contend in that league in the Crossroads, but they expect to contend nationally.
You're right.
And they've done that a lot. We come back on the show. We will wrap up with Chateau Kitchen's Buy It or Bull Bleep, a Super Bowl week edition, when we return to Query and Schultz, presented by Bailey Wood Financial Group, here on the ISC Sports Network.
Hey, AC!
Nice snap.
Mortgage is a snap! Duh!
Bailey and Wood, a lending hand for Wish TV Sports.
Hey, AC!
Nice snap.
Mortgage is a snap! Duh!
Bailey and Wood, a lending hand for Wish TV Sports.
Welcome back, Query and Schultz, presented by Bailey Wood Financial Group, ISC Sports Network, from Chili Water
I've had
Brewing,
a
Tap
sneezing
Brew,
fit
and
come on.
Hoagies and Hops.
I had
43
allergies. I had a sneezing fit.
You're like, Ashley's like that too, where I only ever sneezed once.
Man.
Are you guys one sneezers or multiple sneezers, Brant? Okay, yeah. Ash, my wife always sneezes at least twice, sometimes 3 times. You go into like some weird
I
like
do, and it's
seizure,
every
like
morning.
yeah. It's
I had
just,
seizures as a kid. Please don't make
it's
fun of
crazy.
that. But
Okay,
thank you.
sorry. I did forget about that part of your history. Spastic.
You go into headgear,
That's weird.
Derek, and like getting pinned by girls, and you know what I mean.
We all have our demons. Some of them we can control, and some of them we could not control.
It doesn't bother me that I had juvenile epilepsy, by the way.
Okay,
I'm fine
good.
with it.
Yeah, I mean, outside of that, you've been on easy street really ever since then, life-wise. Well, you got your heart sucks. Time for Buy It or Bull Bleep, brought to you by our friends at
It
Chateau
does.
Kitchen.
I'm glad you find that humorous.
No, I kid because
My heart's like the arts guard.
I
Thank
kid
you.
because I love.
I appreciate it.
You know, that's all.
Yeah,
We're just
okay.
two buddies going
But-
to a Pacers game tonight. That's all we're doing.
But-
Let's drive under the Arts Garden.
Okay, we can do that. We can do that.
See.
We'll just take our chances here, right? Go over and do the sky ride at the zoo while we're at it, which is
Oh,
also
God.
like my heart.
R.I.P. to the sky ride at the zoo. Chateau Kitchens brings you Buy It or Bull Bleep at Chateau Kitchens
I have
on
one for you
Instagram and
there.
Facebook for before and after pictures. ChateauKitchens.com for your in-home transformation, basements, kitchens, bathrooms, anything on the interior of your home. Chateau Kitchens is going to take care of that for you. They've done a magical job, wonderful, miraculous job. All 3 of those things on my house, but don't even take my word for it. Go on socials at Chateau Kitchens, see the before and after pictures for yourself, and then go to ChateauKitchens.com and book your home project today.
Okay, here's my first one. You ready?
Yep.
The Super Bowl MVP will be a defensive player.
Ooh, I am going to go Bull Bleep. I'm going to play the percentages because I'm guessing that it's
Understood.
Darnold won in May too for Super Bowl
Okay.
MVP Vegas
But
odds,
I
right?
just think this particular
I understand where you're coming from.
right. I mean, Seattle's defense is
Yeah.
so good. If they were to win it in May with the shoulder problem, maybe throws a pick or a pick six. I'm going to say defensive player MVP.
Yeah, okay. I mean, if Seattle really wins it in a runaway, maybe it's Jackson Smith and Jigba. You know, like he's been an
I
unbelievable
mean, one of
player.
their backs, they got a couple of good backs.
Maybe this is
obviously.
more of his, I don't want to say coming out party, but, you know, as far as being a star in the NFL, I think he's kind of a
that
lower
would catapult
level.
him for sure.
Yeah, national star. Maybe
Okay.
because the name's a little hard to say.
Buy it or Bull Schultz. We will find out this week that 2 members of the Indianapolis Colts are going into the Hall of Fame.
Oh, Bull Bleep. Here's a take for you. Take. I don't have any pleasure in saying this. I am not entirely convinced that Reggie Wayne will never get in. I think that there is a chance that they're really going to dig their heels in on this. I just, from what I've gathered, I don't think the national voting group views him largely as an elite level player. I think they view him, and I'm not saying that this is fair or unfair, I think they view him as a Peyton Manning merchant, which is crazy to me because his stats are so good.
And Derek, to me, like Peter King came out and was talking about Torrey Holt and Reggie Wayne. And Peter King, and I'm paraphrasing, the longtime sports writer, Peter King said, look, they're both excellent players, but they are not isolation standalone players. In other words, they didn't separate themselves. They were the product of systems, is basically what he was saying. And I understand that sentiment. In Torrey Holt's case, and I covered both of them, actually.
Yeah, you did.
In Torrey Holt's case, I can understand that, except for that in Reggie Wayne's case, and I think there's an element of truth to what I'm about to say for Torrey Holt as well. But in Reggie Wayne's case, after Peyton Manning left and you had a young Andrew Luck here, Reggie Wayne's game elevated. And he lifted himself and redirected what kind of receiver he was, and that's why he should be in.
Torrey Holt was great with Mark Bulger, too, to defend Torrey Holt as well. But look, if we're going to disqualify players because they play with Hall of Fame teammates or Hall of Fame quarterbacks, like Andre Reed was some great talent, great separator.
Right, that's a great
People
point.
were up at night about Andre Reed. You know, no offense to Michael Irvin. I know Michael Irvin was the playmaker and all of that. Like, Michael Irvin had a Hall of Fame quarterback. He had a Hall of Fame running back. He had like 3 Hall of Fame offensive linemen. I mean, what are we doing here?
Right.
You know, you can't punish some and not others. You know, Raymond Berry didn't play with any buster quarterbacks. He played with Johnny Unitas his whole career.
Right.
So, like, you know, part of me is kind of like, I understand if you want to have Manning, the fact that Manning has thrown to him, sure, is that part of it and part of the numbers, but that can't be like the end-all be-all. That can't just be the disqualifier there. But no, I think Vinatieri is going to be a yes, and I think Wayne's going to be a no.
Okay.
Yeah. I heard something. Did it leak out that Eli Manning's not getting in? Somebody said that Eli Manning is not getting in, but
how is it getting leaked out with all this? Like,
I don't know.
You know.
Well, we saw Kraft isn't getting in too,
Correct.
right? But
which would mean that
that's a different pool.
I would assume that means L.C. Greenwood, Kenny Anderson, and Roger Craig are all in, right?
I guess
It had to be 3 of the 5.
Yeah, and you know what else bothers me? Like, you know, no offense to like Ken Anderson or some of these other guys. Why has quarterback become such a charity case for the Hall of Fame, and these elite level receivers have to wait? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, no offense to Ken Anderson, who had a better career, Reggie Wayne or Ken Anderson?
Ken Anderson's not even the Reggie Wayne of
Come on,
quarterbacks,
give
right?
me a break.
Right.
You know, Ken Anderson's not even one of the 25 best quarterbacks probably to ever play. And he's, you know, probably going to get in. And I feel bad that I have to disparage somebody else to make a case for one of these guys. Last thing, they shouldn't do. Do you know the Pro Bowl games are tonight?
They have games?
They shouldn't do anything for the Pro Bowl anymore. Buy it or believe it. Yeah, just name a roster and just have it. Just move on. We don't need to have an NFL thing every week. NFL doesn't have to take over everything. It's Super Bowl week. That should be enough.
Sound like me.
Don't need a game. Don't need flag football. And let's do a cone drill. Okay. No one cares. And the ratings, by the way, are going like this. Remember, people used to actually watch the Pro Bowl, but the ratings for the
Do you remember
games
the 1
going
year,
like this.
literally it was 1 year overnight, where you turn on the Pro Bowl and literally they were snapping the ball and everybody was just standing up.
Yeah.
And they were doing nothing. It was like the players all got together and said, okay, this is the year we're finally going to put
The last 2 or 3 games were really pretty brutal, and they knew right away. I mean, I credit them for trying. They tried, but they failed. So, time to move on. Thanks to our great sponsors of this show, our friends at Chili Water Brewing Tap Room and Hoagies and Hops. Congratulations to them on their 7th anniversary at their Midtown location. Thank you to IU Indy, iuindyjags.com/tickets. for any of their athletic events and ticket info and schedules and more. The Horizon League hopping on board. We appreciate them. Their men's and women's basketball championships March 8th through 10th at the Corteva Coliseum
Women's hoops
right here in
tomorrow
Indianapolis.
night, Cleveland State at the Jungle.
Chateau Kitchens, who we just talked about as well, who bring you Buy It or Bull Bleep, and of course our presenting sponsors, Bailey and Wood Financial Group. For Jake, I'm Derek. We will see you next time right here on Query and Schultz.
At Bailey & Wood, we pride ourselves on our 5-star customer service. But at our core, we're a family. Family owned, and family to our customers, staff, and our community. From charity events to recognizing hometown heroes, we prioritize giving back to our communities that have always supported our growth. So let us help you get your dream home today.